evening, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of Beer Rating with Sean Connors. As you can see, the beer I have today is Cappuccino Stout from Quidi Vidi Brewery. Now, full disclosure, this beer was actually given to me a while back by one of my friends. I have no idea who actually, and I've been putting it off to do it, and I wasn't even sure I was going to. And the main reason was I try to come into most of these reviews with an open mind. However, I'm not a coffee drinker, so as soon as I seen Cappuccino Stout, I was thinking, yeah, I'm not going to like it, so I've been putting off and trying to decide whether or not I was going to do it or not. And tonight I said, screw it, I'll give it a try. So right off the hop, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I don't even know if I'm going to enjoy this, but I'm going to try to be as unbiased as I can, and we'll see what happens. Now, the brewery for this one is Quidi Vidi Brewery. I've done several of their brews before. They're a local brewery in St. John's, Newfoundland, in a small fishing village within the city limits, Quidi Vidi. And it's they've been around since, I believe, the mid-90s. I think it was two university students, friends, started it. And it's actually a funny story because they were living in residence, and they were doing home brew, and they were brewing it in the janitor's closet. And the story goes that they went home for Thanksgiving, and while they were gone, the janitor found the home brew, drank it, got drunk, and he ended up losing his job, and the boys got kicked out of residence. So they started their own brewery, and I believe they started in the mid-90s. I want to say 96, it could be off a little bit. They're quite involved with the community. A couple of years ago, the Regatta, which is our boating event here in Newfoundland, it's the oldest continuous sporting event in Newfoundland. Throughout the years, they had a beer tent, and it was run by one of the service groups. I'm not sure if it was the Lions Club or something like that. Anyway, there was disagreement, and they backed out of it, and Quidi Vidi came forward and said, hey, we'll run it. So I believe they ran in conjunction with a couple other breweries. They also have, I think it's Friday night, they have little, I can't remember the name of it is, but they have little events whereby the general public can go down the brewery, they have entertainment, so they're pretty well known. And full disclosure again, I've had some of their beers that I really liked. Other ones are like, yeah, okay, not bad. And I've had a few that I didn't like at all. And like I said, I've got my doubts with this one, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping I'll be pleasantly surprised. Now, with that being said, it's not that I don't like stouts. Stouts are one of those things, most people either like them or hate them. For me, I've had some stouts that I really, really enjoyed, and other stouts, couldn't even finish it. And not being a coffee drinker, this one should be interesting. So, give my glass a quick cold water rinse, as per usual. So we'll see how this is going to be. Looks pretty, well, it's pretty dark. It seems to be pretty thick, which is typical for a stout, so that's no surprise there. Not a lot of head there, and I'm actually quite surprised. I was expecting a little bit more head. When most people think of stouts, they think of Guinness. Without a doubt, that's the biggest stout producer in the world. And so, I mean, Guinness has substantial head. I mean, you can rate stuff in the head. Not so much here. Typical stout aroma. And it's funny, the first whiff, I was actually quite surprised because I wasn't getting the coffee aroma, but now I'm definitely getting it. Alright, so the big thing is the taste. Pretty strong. As I said, I'm not a coffee drinker. Stouts in general, normally you'll get either a chocolate, coffee, espresso, sometimes even like a smoky flavor. The chocolate ones I have a tendency to enjoy. Not all of them. I did one that was a triple chocolate, and that didn't do it for me at all. So this one actually is not as bad as I was expecting. I've had one previously, I believe I did a review on it, and to me, it tastes like a dirty ashtray. So this one's actually better than I expected. I don't think I'd go out and pick up a 6-pack or anything. As I said, I'm not a coffee drinker, so that's kind of a turn off for me right away. So there you go. If you're a coffee drinker, I think anybody who's a coffee and beer drinker, I think you really enjoy this one. I think it's worth picking up just to see. It's pretty coffee tasting. Alright, so I got to give it a rating. As usual, my ratings are out of 5. A 1 being a drain pour. Don't like it, can't finish it. I'm literally going to pour it down the drain. A 2 would be, yeah, I'm not a big fan, but I'll finish it. A 3 would be a good beer. A 4 would be a very good beer. And a 5 would be the best beer ever. Now, there's no scientific studies or analysis done. It's just basically my opinion. So not being a coffee drinker, sadly, this won't get a high rating. No. However, I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish it. It might take me a while. But with that being said, after drinking a fair bit already, so maybe not that bad. So it's no less than a 2, because I know I'm going to finish it. It's not a 4, possibly a 3. So I'm leaning between 2, 2.5, or a 3. Once again, a 2 is not a big fan, but I'll finish it, and 3 being a good beer. I think I'm going to give this one the benefit of the doubt. I was actually leaning towards 2.5, but with that being said, I'm not a coffee drinker, so I'm a little bit biased going into it, so I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. And it is better than I expected. In all honesty, I thought I was going to take one mouth, and I'd be like, yeah, that's it, I'm done. So it's better than that. And like I said, if you're a beer drinker and a coffee drinker, I think you would enjoy this one. It's not one that I could sit down and have 2, 3, 4 of them, but if somebody gave me this again and I was sitting in an Irish bar or whatever, or a house party, I think I could drink it without an issue. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with the 3.0 for the Vidi Brewery's Cappuccino Stout. 6.5% alcohol, so considered a strong beer. I'm just noticing that. And it's funny because normally with strong beers, a lot of times, I'm not a liquor drinker. I almost solely beer, so I'm not a big fan of like hard, strong tasting beers. A lot of strong beers I find you can actually almost taste the alcohol, and that's a big turn off for me as well. So this one is actually a lot better than I expected. So I think I'm going to stick with the 3.0. Alright folks, next week. Right now it's November 26th, so December is on Tuesday. It's Thursday right now. So as of Tuesday, I will be starting my advent calendar for 2020. Anybody who follows me on a regular basis, last year I actually did the it was a German advent calendar, and this one is basically it's 2020 craft beer advent. It's gold medal edition. So basically 24 beers that have never been sold in Canada. I believe I read that. And all the beers have won gold medals. None of these beers have been sold in Canada before, so this should be a real treat. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'll be starting this one on December 1st, Tuesday coming up. So hopefully you can join me there. If anybody's beer enthusiast, pick it up, follow along with me, let me know what you think of the beers. There you go folks, until next brew, Bad Boy here, cheers.